community. So, like I said, just keep that in mind. And it kind of leads to the next thing that I was going to be talking about here, which is semi-important, but it's not like super prioritized right now because it's not concrete. But what we'll be discussing, right, is the podcast itself. So as the show grows and we continue to get a large amount of submissions, I had a conversation with the Music Money staff team, and now we're going to have a conversation with the community about the future of the show. And what am I referring to? Well, the show is getting upwards, more or less 30 submissions each week. And that's pushing like about 4-hour podcasts, sometimes 4.5 hours. I think our longest show was like 5 hours, which you guys know I can do that no problem. But to keep the show growing and to kind of make it palatable, right? Because even like a 4-hour show is kind of like a lot to ask for anybody to listen to. Like that's just, that's fucking longer than the Titanic. It's just not feasible. So it took a minute, but and mostly me, I sat up a few nights and I was like, dude, like how the fuck can we work this into a way where the show continues to grow, but we can sort of cap it off in like a timely manner. So what I came up with was coming up with like a time limit format. So say we capped off the show at about 4 hours, and we take a bunch of free submissions, and we have a limited amount of paid submissions. And when I say paid submissions, all you're essentially doing is skipping the line. Because there have been questions, throughout the time of the show, when is my submission being played? Da 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 da. And the show gets longer and longer, and people, can't really stay up late. They wait for the show to come out later. Da 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 da. So essentially, we'll be allowing a couple of paid slots as to where somebody can pay $5 or $10 and you can get your submission played first. And the show will be on a time limit cap, right? So like once we hit 4 hours, we'll just essentially stop going through submissions. But the paid slots will essentially make sure that you get played earlier, and you're guaranteed to get played, essentially. And then we'll continue for the rest of the submissions throughout the 4 hours. So that'll not only help the platform, take a bit of the pressure off, but it'll help the community kind of digest the show a bit more. And then we still keep our free section. And then on top of it, we get to use that funding for more community projects, right? Because a live Music Monday show has been something that we've been discussing for a while, right? IRL Fest, or no, URL Fests are great. Cyberfest was great, and we're going to be doing plenty more. But the peak is always a live show, right? Like, we want to come to Texas, we want to go to Vegas, we want to go to Cali, we want to get people involved, and we want to have meetups and shit like that. And the only way to do more activities like that without fully stressing out of pocket is to get the community involved in a way that it benefits them as well. So that's kind of where we're at. And like I said, that's not something that's going to be launching anytime soon. The show will be staying the same, especially for right now. It's just something that we're doing as a precautionary measure for the future, right? Because one day we're going to wake up and the show's going to have like 50 submissions. And, it's better to think about how to alleviate that pressure now, as opposed to, forcing yourself to do like a 6-hour show. Because nobody's going to watch that. It's really long. And, it's a lot. So that's kind of like what we came up with. So I'm thinking like a 4 hour show cap and either like $5 or $10 paid slots to get your submission like guaranteed played at the earliest. So we'll do like a paid one, do a free one, do a paid one, do a free one, and then we'll just limit it at 5. And then for the rest of the show, we'll do the rest of the free submissions depending on where we're at. But we'll just keep the show at 4 hours, either way. So that was kind of the idea there. And then we are going to use that funding for things like shows, merch drops, getting the staff business cards. We have a couple of ideas that we're working on. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up was because we need the community's input, right? Like, this wasn't just something that we're just doing. You know what I mean? Like, the community matters to all of us. And I think it's really important to get the community input on this kind of situation, right? And then we'll kind of come to a middle ground and then, see where it goes. So if you're watching on YouTube, do us a favor and we'll probably upload this as an individual segment. But if not, do us a favor and definitely comment and let us know what you think. Feel free to speak your mind, things like that. And if you listen on the audio version of the show, we're going to be putting out a Q&A on the audio version, and there's going to be some questions that we need the community to answer as far as that goes, and really get the community's thoughts and opinions on the future of the show, and as the show grows, where the community thinks we should go as well. So we're gonna consider all angles from this before we do anything. That's kind of why we didn't really try to rush an upgrade like that, and kind of do things a bit differently. So yeah, definitely comment, let us know what you think. And if you're listening on the audio version, definitely go answer those questions, because like I said, we're going to be doing a Q&A over on Spotify. So if you listen to the show on the audio version, and of course it's linked in the description as well. So yes, keep that in mind. We'll obviously update you all on socials to really get your opinions and things like that. And because like I said, we really wanted the community's input on something like this before we went ahead and just kind of went crazy with it. So that's kind of like what we're thinking and where we're at as far as that goes. Not like a major change, but an improvement to the show that kind of takes the pressure off the community. It makes the show a bit more steady, and we get to not really change much with submissions and kind of give the community an option to get more out of the podcast, right? So yeah, that's where we're at. And that's definitely something we need the community's thoughts on. So I'd really like you guys to comment some thoughts, especially even if you're in the stream right now. Feel free to let us know what your thoughts are on that. Definitely want a more open discussion. So yeah, let us know, absolutely. But with that said, my friends, let's continue on. So that's about what's going down. Like I said, we have our March content kind of coming through relatively soon. In case you missed it monthly, the breakdown, Feature Friday, Workshop Wednesday, a bunch of written interviews are dropping relatively soon. Yeah, March is going to be really stacked, really stacked. Let me set up a subscription for submissions. Yeah. See, that's the kind of deal that we were looking for, right? Because like I said, there's been quite a few people that, wanted to skip the line or get played first, because the majority of viewers for the show, especially live, peak out at the start. So, if you want, your submission played way earlier, I think that's not a bad deal, you know what I mean? And if you don't feel like paying, you don't have to. We'll still get to the free submissions. You know what I mean? So that's just if you kind of wanted to cut the line. If you've been to Six Flags and you get a fucking fast pass. You know what I mean? That's really what it is. So it was tough to kind of come up with a different alternative for the community, but at the same time we want the platform to grow, right? Live performances, merch, bigger and better events for the community. And that was one way that I came up with to alleviate the pressure, but still keep a lot of the free alternatives for the community, right? Because we like, I don't want that, you know what I mean? Like, because like so many platforms are out there like, no, pay first or you're not doing this or da da da. And like the majority of people know that we sit here and have so many long shows because of the way we break shit down. You know what I mean? Like the way we break shit down, it's not like, oh yeah, that was fire, fire emoji, that was crazy. All right, next submission. No, like we're breaking your shit down, for free. So if you wanted that done earlier, that was kind of like a free um alternative, but if you wanted to pay, that's also cool. So yeah, think of it more so as like a flash pass, you're just cutting the line essentially, and we'll just cap the show off at 4 hours. So wherever we're at with the show, we'll just kind of cap it off there, and then we'll continue doing a whole bunch of free submissions, and we'll do like say like 5 paid slots as to where we'll start off with like a paid submission, then we'll do a free one, then we'll go with like a paid submission and we'll do a free one. So we'll only limit it to like 5 as to where like it's not overpowered and not like fucking over the free people, because that's really like what I didn't want. I wanted to make sure that we kept that kind of um free section for the community. Like I really wanted to keep that. That was really important to me. Um which, as you can imagine, it's kind of hard to try to balance that out, right? And keep the core of free content. So that was kind of the solution that I came up with. And yeah. So Mark, TDG, I'm glad you guys agree. Um, we'll hopefully get a little bit more community input as well, as we spread the word. Because, like I said, this is kind of far out from being launched. Something like this probably won't come out for like another couple of months for real. Like I'm not in any rush to get something like this out because it's got to be done right. Um, you know, it's really it's really something like that. Patreon might be a good option for it. You are fucking a genius, because we could just have like Patreon exclusive content, and then we could probably have the community like Patreon members um get first dibs, right? So something like that could really work. Something like that could really work. Yeah, actually I'll include that in the video and we'll upload this to YouTube. Um let us know what you think. Should we do kind of like a $5 like, whatever, or you could kind of go sub to like a Patreon and you could get like, you know, a bunch of exclusives and yada yada yada. I think you could send messages on there, just link it, and members can get pushed up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, I think that's going to be something that we look into. You know what? I'm actually going to write that down, because that's a really good alternative, and that's a really safe alternative as well. Um, yeah, so I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. Um, so yeah, we'll just kind of go down the list, and then if somebody submits that's also a Patreon member, um, I think the only problem with that is like we are a weekly show, and that's probably a monthly based subscription. So there's something to work around there for sure. Because I thought about just doing Twitch subs, you know what I mean? But that's also like a monthly kind of thing. So I was like, yeah, that's still not gonna work, because you could sub one week and then kind of you know um still be sub the next week, but we still got like 3 shows that month, so it's like fuck. um so yeah, much to think about, much to think about. That's why I wasn't really like in a rush to kind of push something like that out, because there's like a good way to do it. We just got to figure out how, to be honest with you. And if we did Twitch subs, I don't think that would be a bad thing, because if you're already subbed, you could just gift another sub. You know what I mean? So like say you were subbed right now, but you wanted to like skip the line, you could just like gift a sub. I think that was the other thing that I sort of thought of. And like I said, like I just wanted like full transparency with the community before we ever moved forward with anything like this. So, like I said, definitely let us know your thoughts and feel free to shoot us a message, make sure you drop a comment, things like that. Um, because yeah, very important, very very important, my friends. So, let's hop right into reactions and reviews because we have a whole lot of stuff to get through. So,